let's move to Cleveland, other East team. Um, I mean, they got pacered, right? Like
Yeah.
blew
Yeah.
multiple big leads.
Yeah. They
What were
got
you saying?
Pacer. They had some unfortunate injuries. Um, this is really just a disappointing end to the season, and kind of like, I mean, I don't know. They got unfortunate. They weren't full. They won't. They were not full strength at all during that series, and they blew some really tough leads. And game two that was handed to Indiana um, after some fouls and some things that didn't go the Cavs' way, definitely hurt them in that series. Yeah,
Yeah, just rough. Um, it looked like the team that had really put it together. We had kind of been waiting for the Cavs to really click, and we think they really clicked this season. Evan Mobley had a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. I think his biggest improvement was offensively. Like he was awesome offensively this season. Um, just looking back at how we talked about Evan Mobley going into the year, like we were debating on if he was a top five East power forward. And
yeah,
now I would say he's definitely a top five power forward in general. So Evan Mobley had a great season. Uh, we saw a statistical backstep from Donovan Mitchell, and that was a big part in what helped the team really flourish offensively. I would say just about everything that you thought could have gone right, the Ty Jerome of it all, like finally clicking for them. Um, health actually was on their side this season. Their starting five could play together. It was just everything looked right, and then it just didn't end up working out. Where do you think they go from here for context? They currently have, I'll go ahead and get their second apron stuff, but they have Ty Jerome as a free agent, and unless he is a lot cheaper than I am expecting him to be, I don't necessarily think they'll be able to retain him, considering the Mitchell and Evan Mobley extensions that are kicking in now.
yeah. And Evan Mobley gets like 50 million bonus, I think, for DPOY. Um, from what I've been reading, I think the Cavs are gonna try to pretty much run it back with the same core four. I think that's what the coach said and what the general manager's been kind of putting out there. Um, I don't think that's the worst idea. I mean, this team did win 64 games. Um, it was obviously some issues, but I think if they do try to blow it up a little bit, you look to move two guys, and that's Garland and Allen maybe. Those are the two names I've really been hearing. Jared Allen really struggled in that Pacers series. Couldn't really get it going offensively. Uh, but so you can look to move him, and you get a great return for him. I still believe he's a top five center in the East. Um, really good player. Uh, and shit, if you trade Garland too, just coming off an all star appearance, right? I'm not wrong about that.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, just coming off All Star appearance, he has a lot of trade value. And I mean, out of the two, I think Donovan Mitchell is definitely better in the front court. Maybe you trade Donovan, or maybe you trade Garland, and you free up some money to get to re-sign Ty Jerome and add some additional players from that Garland trade. I do think, Pat, that this team is going to look very similar to what it did to what it did this year, next year. Um, just from what I've been seeing, I think this team will ultimately run it back. But there's definitely some issues. Some issues. Just I feel like they got away from their game a little bit during that Pacers series. Started playing a lot more ISO ball, especially the cards. And they didn't get it. Weren't getting Mobley and Allen involved. And then in the one game they did, the offense looked a lot better. Um, but I think besides running it back, if they were to do something, I think trading Allen, like getting a nice return, or even Garland, are definitely on the table. And I think, did you say they're not under any restrictions? Are they like first or second?
They are a second apron
Second apron.
projected team for next season. So they,
Okay, so yeah, so if they do want to stay under, I think trading probably Garland or Allen is the move. But if they're okay with going over it, yeah, that's kind of
so
my
The thing there too, like they are currently 5 million over the second apron. That's without potentially bringing back Ty Jerome. Um, they do have like Jarrett Allen is on like a very fair contract, like very team friendly, so that could possibly like dissuade them from doing that. I think if there is anybody who's going to be like a casualty here, like it might be Shrews, it might be Isaac Okoro, it might be Dean Wade, just one of those guys they might eat into that situation since they're paying DeAndre Hunter 23 million next season. Um, maybe it's even DeAndre Hunter since he's the fourth highest paid player on this team. Like it could be any of those guys, and they could bring back a very similar team. And I think if there is a team that would enter the second apron for the first time this season and like really be okay with it, I think it would be Cleveland just off of the regular season that they just had a year ago. Um, the Celtics have been in the second apron for multiple seasons now, and now they're getting out of it. So Cleveland could do it this season and reevaluate in a year whether or not they want to maintain their second apron salary situation. There is like a couple of trade ideas. These are not my own. These are things that I've seen floated around, but they call up Orlando and say, "Hey, we'll give you Garland if you give us Franz Wagner."
Yeah, I
I-
mean that'd be
It,
awesome. Yeah.
it's something to consider. I think it rebalances the team a little bit. It allows you to then move off of one of those wing players. It's something I don't necessarily, I haven't crunched the numbers on if I really think they should do that or if I really think Orlando should do it, but it's something to consider with Cleveland. I think next year they will be back. And, do we think the Cavs were a fraud? Like, like
Um, I I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say they dealt with some tough stuff during that Pacers series, and this Pacers team is on track to make it to to the NBA championship. So, I mean, yeah, it's a second round loss, but it's when if it's to the eventual, I mean, if it's to a team that makes it all the way, and you consider the injuries that happened, um, yeah, I don't think I wouldn't say they were frauds. I think this team should run it back one more year.
I kind of think they should as well. Just put yourself in a situation, even if they lose Ty Jerome, who was a big piece for them. If they lose Ty Jerome, like, does that really like bump them to not be a home court advantage playoff team next year? I don't think it does, especially with the Boston situation that's going on right now. Um, I think they'll definitely be a top four seed next year. It puts you in position to potentially like still make, a run for the finals, I think potentially. So